And welcome back to another episode of the Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Critical Mode Any Percent Speedrun tutorial. In this episode, we are going to be covering Hollow Bastion 1, more commonly known as Bailey. There's only 2 fights in this world, but if you've ever watched a speedrun or done a speedrun before of Kingdom Hearts 2, you know that Bailey is a pretty notorious fight, and we're going to be doing our best to break it down in this video. Actually going to start off in the gummy map because we're first going to learn about a little bit of gummy movement that you'll use in a couple other spots throughout the run, but this is our first introduction to it. So if you didn't actually know, you are able to lock on to the individual worlds on the world map, and if you lock on and press circle, you teleport over. So watch, I'm going to do a dash towards Hollow Bastion in the gummy ship. I'm going to lock on to Hollow Bastion and press circle, and you'll see the gummy ship kind of hop over. Dash, lock on, hop over, go, enter the world. Saves a lot of time, actually. There's a, I want to say there's there's 3 spaces maybe, 3 or 4 places in the run where we use that. It's a nice trick to know. Yeah, pretty quick there, but let's get into the world. So immediately on entering the world, we're going to go instantly into Valor form. Valor form runs a little bit faster than regular Sora, so when it makes sense, we want to go into Valor form for the increased movement speed. And what we're going to immediately do is when we get to the very edge here of this ledge, we're going to jump and try to make it onto this little awning over here. So at the very edge, I jump and then I do a little attack. When you do an attack, when you're like getting to a ledge, it gives you a little extra distance, as well as kind of gives you a little bit of a vertical boost and allows you to be able to get a little bit higher or onto a ledge that you normally wouldn't have been able to get on, or maybe you would have ledge grabbed onto. This is actually a pretty tight, precise jump. So yeah, you want to be like as close to that edge there, jump, do an attack, and then you see me do... I'll refer to it a couple times in the run. Valor form has a couple of unique properties. When you're just standing on the ground, if you press square instead of doing a guard or anything, it's actually going to make you do an instant aerial attack, which is super helpful. We're going to use that a lot of the time. And it's called, the aerial attack is called Over the Horizon. I'll probably call it that a few times, so just be aware of that. The other property is Valor form can go immediately into a finisher as well if you press square. So normally, you know, when you have to press X a bunch of times and then eventually you'll get to the finisher. But in Valor form, you only need to press X once. And then if you press square afterwards, you're going to instantly do a finisher, whether you're on the ground or in the air. So that tangent aside, when I land on this little awning thing, I do a couple of back-to-back Over the Horizons. The first one gets me over this edge, and the second one passes me by this Moogle. The game wants to give you a little dialogue box as you're passing the Moogle, which would stop you from moving. But if you're in the middle of your Over the Horizon, it won't stop you from moving, so that's why you want to do it. And while I'm in the air, I mash through the text boxes, so I basically am able to keep one fluid motion going. So land, Over the Horizon, mash, and we walk on over to the first fight of the world. So we call this one pre-Bailey because it's the fight before Bailey. What you want to do to start this off is hold your left joystick, your movement one, at about 4 or 5 o'clock direction, and mash triangle. That's going to give you an RC, or a reversal RC, well, let's go back a couple of frames, on the guy that is directly behind you right here. And that's who we want to reverse. So you're going to see me immediately do that. I'm going to lock onto him, run a little bit more behind him so I can orient myself. When you do a reversal, it's going to stun all of the dusks, but once they get out of the stun, they're going to immediately come and try to attack you, which is actually what we want in this case. So I do my reversal, run a little bit behind. I'm going to do an attack on this dusk. I'm going to wait for pretty much as long as I can while still maintaining my combo, and then I'm going to do that square finisher that I talked about. So it's just X, pause, square. The reason I pause is I'm giving these dusks time to get closer to me so that they're as many of them as possible are hit by this finisher. So watch. Bam. That finisher hit 4 of them up in the air, which is exactly what we want. And after that, we want to pause a second again. You don't want to pause too long, obviously. You don't want to lose your combo. But you want to give it a little bit of a beat before I'm going to do the second finisher in Valor as well. And my hope is that when I do that, it's going to kill at least 2 of these Dusks. When 2 of the Dusks dies, the Samurai that spawns afterwards spawns in. So you have to kill 2 of them before he spawns in. And I'm going to hope that this second finisher does just that, which it does. And you see this the Samurai spawns in. I'm going to immediately go for this guy and start doing air hits on him, starting it off with an over the horizon. At this point, there's not like a specific plan. It's more of just cleanup. So the only real set in stone part of the strat is reversal, do a hit, do a finisher, do a second finisher, and then go after the Samurai. And then you clean up anything afterwards. That's pretty much how the fight goes. Results may vary, you know, sometimes the second finisher kills all of them, or kills a bunch of them, sometimes it kills only one, sometimes it doesn't kill any, and you basically just do a bunch of air hits to clean them up. In this fight, it looks like I get hit once, you know, I continue doing some attacks, Donald helps me out, kills one of the Dusks for me. Security system can help you out sometimes, security system can hurt you sometimes, but let's just watch this fight in fast motion here. Reversal, hit, square, and then another finisher. I go after this Samurai here, get clipped, but no big deal. And the fight's over. So now we're going to run on over to Merlin's house. Nothing too intense here. I do a fun little movement trick where I do an over the horizon that clips that shadow, gets me a couple of Valor hits, and then I hop on into Merlin's room. Not that important, just a fun little thing that's slightly faster. Now we're going to head on over to Bailey. So we can hop on top of this block with and use an X input to not have to ledge grab. So basically you get to the apex of your jump and then use the X input to not grab the ledge. Then we're going to jump and grab this ledge, jump and grab this ledge, and head into Bailey. You're about to see me do something that, honestly, in the run, this is probably the question I've been asked the most. Before going into Bailey, you see right there that I actually revert from Valor form. And people are always like, why do you revert from Valor form? It's a very small, silly reason. When you are in the animation of your over the horizon, you actually can't enter into a room until the animation is over. By reverting from drive, it instantly ends the animation, and you immediately go into the room threshold. So it probably saves you like 1/10 of a second, maybe 2/10 of a second. It's very minor, but you know, doesn't cost anything. Might as well do it. You get your drive back after this fight, no matter what. So it doesn't matter that we lose it here, and we enter into the fight. Bailey. There is a lot of things going on in this fight. You got to deal with a lot of Dusks, you got to deal with a lot of Creepers, a lot of Samurais, and you also got to deal with Leon and the security system. In this video, I've actually included 2 different Bailey fights. This first one goes pretty well, and the second one lucks into an amazing fight, I'm just going to say. Regardless of how anything works out, when you start this fight, you're going to immediately turn around and run towards Leon, who is currently behind you. Your main goal in this fight is to get all of the enemies towards the gate and Leon towards the gate. When Leon is towards the gate, he's going to be swinging his sword, doing damage on a bunch of them at the same time. That's a really good thing. That's what we're looking for. So again, like I was saying, we're going to start the fight by immediately running backwards, turning our camera, and we're going to see what Leon does here. So Leon is always going to do this, or I scratched that. We're going to see what the Dusks do. Leon is always going to do this side swing. Sometimes he hits one of the Dusks, sometimes he hits 2 of the Dusks, sometimes he hits all of the Dusks, sometimes he hits none of them. And we're basically just going to react to what happens. General rule of thumb is whatever enemies he does or doesn't hit, you want to go after the one that is furthest away from the gate. So, for example, if this guy stayed on the ground and got knocked backwards, you'd probably want to go after this guy because he's the one who's going to be furthest back. You don't want Leon going for the ones that are far away from the gate. Like I said before, your goal, get everything to the gate and get Leon to the gate. In this case, you see this middle dusk and the side dusk are going to jump, so Leon's just going to go after this one guy. And he smacks him, and I see those guys who jumped are closer to the gate than this guy is, so I choose to go after this guy. And then I wait to see what Leon's doing, because again, I really want to make sure he gets to the gate, so if he starts knocking one back into the corner, I want to make sure I go deal with that guy, so he stops attacking that guy and goes for one of these guys up front. In this case, a lot of them are getting knocked forward. I kind of take this little step back and wait just to see if he's going to knock anyone backwards. Again, this is not like super set in stone planning. I just have these thoughts in mind and I'm reacting based on what I get. So he's knocking that guy. I see this guy gets knocked to the side, so I go after him. I see he starts fireballing. That's what you don't want him to do. Luckily, in this fight, he decides to go run after one of the Dusks. I'm not going to say it's 100% random, but basically, if there's enough distance between Leon and the Dusks at the gate, he's just going to sit there and fireball, and that's not what you want. His fireball is slow. It usually only damages one at a time. It's not as good as him doing his sword swings. Those do more damage. So you really want him getting to the gate and doing the sword swings, but sometimes if he starts fireballing, there's not much you can do. Just go after the Dusks and start hitting them yourself. But here he is going to make the decision to go after them, which is very nice of him. So I'm going to step back here and start blizzarding them from a distance. The reason is, so Leon is up front dealing with them, and I actually want to stay closer to the middle if I can, because the next wave is going to spawn behind me, kind of where the original wave spawned. So I'm just doing some blizzards to try to get that little extra damage, help Leon out, kill these guys as fast as possible. I see he's taking them out. Okay, that guy's not much health left. And these guys spawn in. So in this wave, we're going to get 5 creepers and 2 samurai. Your goal here is to get dual stances, which is the samurai's RC. You get that by guarding them and then pressing triangle. Probably didn't need to explain that. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to immediately run between these guys and get towards the creepers that are behind them. What this is going to do is encourage them to attack me back where I am by the creepers, and hopefully I'm going to be able to hit as many of them as possible with the dual stance reaction command. So I run through. Also key to lock on to one of these guys. Something that can happen very easily if you don't lock on is you might be auto targeting onto one of the creepers, face the wrong direction, you'll press guard when the samurai are coming after you, and Sora will guard the wrong way and you'll get hit in the back. Feels really bad, so that's why you want to lock onto one of these guys. Make sure that doesn't happen. So I see them coming, I throw out a guard. See how lined up these creepers are? That's great. That's exactly what we want to see. The hope is when you do the RC, it's going to kill all of them. Let's see what happens. So it looks like it killed the other samurai as well. It killed a couple of the creepers, but there's still a few alive here. Once you take out enough samurais and creepers, the next wave is going to spawn of more samurais and dusks. Our goal with these samurai is obviously get another RC if possible. Leon's going to try to mess it up. One of the key things is all of the waves of dusks will not spawn if there's any creepers alive. So our next main priority here is to clean up the rest of the creepers. And what I'm going to try to do is catch him with one of those dual stance reaction commands. So I'm waiting for one. I saw one there, guarded it. And it looks like that's going to be able to take out that. And ooh, it might also take out a couple of these guys. Let's see. Yeah, it does. But there's still, unfortunately, one creeper who got away. So I go after him first. Leon is following me to help out. And you'll notice that there's literally only one creeper and one dusk right now. If there was one dusk and no creeper, or I mean, if there's one dusk and no creepers, the rest of the dusks would spawn. If there was 2 dusks and no creepers, the rest of the dusks would spawn. The Dusks are, for whatever reason, locked behind the Creeper being here. So I'm going to go prioritize this guy, try to take him out first. Once I do, you can kind of hear all of these guys spawn in. And then I'm going to start beating them up too. Something also to note, if you can line up blizzards to hit them, that's good. But you actually get a strength increase during this fight from a level up. And when you get that strength increase, your physical combos do a lot of damage. So it's actually probably faster to clean them up with physical combos at this point. And there's not too much more to be said with this fight. I'm just going to be doing my best to hit as many of them as I can with these physical combos. Take them out as quickly as possible. Fight is pretty much over at this point. Have a fun little plank there. Boom, take him out. Now we're going to get into another fight which goes incredibly well and I get very lucky. At least once the Samurai spawn and I get the dual stance. So turn around again. This time only one of the Dusks jumped and 2 of them are walking. So Leon is likely going to hit both of them here. So he knocks them both. I decide to go after this one because this is the one he sent into the corner. That's just kind of a judgment call. I probably would have been okay going after the right one as well. I just decided to go after this guy. Sounds like Leon is going after that right one. I'm going to see what's going on. Alright, he's gone a little bit towards the gate. I'm starting to take out the Dusks here, and Leon makes his way to the gate. Oh no, he decided to be an idiot and walk back and fireball. You know, you do your best to get him over there, and sometimes he makes a stupid decision. What are you gonna do? Like, he's not totally manipulatable. We're doing our best out here. So you see him slowly doing his fireballs. I see that Dusk is only at 1 HP, so I'm like, okay, I don't need to run up there and help finish him off. I think his fireball can get him. And just like I said, I lock onto one of these guys, run through them, get kind of towards the back here. I get the parry. I actually get 2 parries here and do my dual stance. Bam. Take out a lot of the creepers. I provoke one of these samurai to try to get a faster dual stance out of them. And there, the security system actually helped me out. One of those creepers was going to escape, but the security system popped him up and stopped him from escaping. I also got a funny little reversal RC that got the parry instead of the guard. It happens sometimes, but you see he's still in his dual stance form, so I'm going to go back and get that. And what I get really lucky with here is this guy was also attacking at the same time. And when I did that dual stance, it parried with this guy and sent him into a dual stance. And that first one took out all the creepers. So that entire wave of Dusks is about to spawn in, and you're going to see what happens. And it kills them all. And I'm literally down to 1 Dusk left. So that's unbelievably lucky, unbelievably fast. You don't expect that to happen, but I decided to include it for a fun little thing to show how fast it can go. And just one more time, let's watch the whole Bailey at full speed just to see how it works. Yeah, so making the decision to go after the guy who's heading towards the back. I probably could have decided to start hitting the Dusk that Leon was taking on in hopes that he would make the decision to go to the gate, but you're trying your best to make the decisions. It's not a guarantee. This is a notorious fight for a reason. And just so you know, I'm doing a lot of triangle mashing during this. Just trying my best to get the dual stances. And there it is, that's Bailey. Not a lengthy segment of the run, but a notorious one. So easy to lose 20, 30 seconds to it, or even die. It's a dangerous fight as well as a difficult one. But you'll keep doing it, you'll have good ones, you'll have bad ones, and hopefully this video helped out. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one.